We think they have a huge cost of capital advantage in the industry. Tesla vehicles have accounted for about 2/3 of all EV sales in the US last year. And we think there's a very clear pathway to growth. And in fact, by the end of this decade, we think they will be the world's largest automaker in terms of sales volume. So that's our top pick.
In this video, some Wall Street analysts are starting to recognize that Tesla has an unassailable lead. They're currently printing insane amounts of money. They have a dominant market position and no one will ever be catching up. But unfortunately, that's not where the story ends. We also have comments from a different analyst, not Garrett, that may in fact take the prize for the dumbest things I've ever heard anyone say about anything ever. No hyperbole. Make sure you got the popcorn because this one is going to be good. And a quick heads up, more exclusive content dropping on Patreon today. If you're not a member, you can join with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment.
Time for a 360 round all about the auto stocks, and our panel is ready. Garrett Nelson, equity analyst at CFRA Research, and Ivan Feinseth, Senior Partner, CIO, Director of Research at Tigris Financial. Glad to see you both, and I'll tell you, the only one you seem to agree on is that Ford is a buy. The rest of it, you seem to have different thoughts on at this moment. Garrett, what's the big picture here as you comb across the auto industry? Some of the names that you liked in the past, you're moving down the ladder, let's say. What are the names you like and why?
Yeah, thanks for having me. We continue to like Tesla, both in the near term and long term.
I have a question, and a serious question, by the way. Is there anyone at all on Earth who isn't mentally ill, who doesn't like Tesla over the long term? If so, please let me know. I've yet to encounter a single example. And I'm dead f***ing serious. Every single person I have heard who has a very negative view of Tesla over the long term displays clear signs of mental illness, delusion, or combinations thereof. I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just trying to be accurate.
We think they have a huge cost of capital advantage in the industry. And if you look, Tesla vehicles have accounted for about 2/3 of all EV sales in the US last year.
Hold up a sec. So on screen now, we have CFRA analyst recommendations for Ford, Tesla, General Motors, Rivian, and Lucid. I note a sell on General Motors and Rivian, a hold on Lucid, buys on both Ford and Tesla. Now I may be imagining things, we'll fact check to find out, but I have a recollection that Garrett was a little bit more of a stock slut not that long ago. Company says they're going to make EVs, therefore you should buy the stock or at the very least hold despite insanely high valuations because nothing could possibly go wrong. I'm a big fan of accountability, so let's just check what Garrett was saying about these companies a year or two ago, when I personally was pointing out the absurdity of the valuations, the incredible difficulty of surviving the ramp to volume production, the fact that just because a company says they're going to do some things doesn't mean they're actually going to do the things they say they're going to do, and that most investors buying the likes of Rivian, Lucid, etc. were likely to get absolutely scorched. So what do we have here? Garrett Nelson, CFRA, Wall Street analyst, ranking not exactly great, but that's alright, I won't hold it against him. Lucid has been recommending investors hold the stock since $42.63 per share. Currently trading for $8.19, and I'm pretty sure I repeatedly pointed out the absurdity of Garrett recommending investors hold this abomination of a stock. Now I do wish Lucid the best, but at the time I was pointing out there's red flags everywhere. Pete Rawlinson, slimy CEO of the company, misleading investors, unwilling to reiterate their target of 20,000 vehicles delivered last year, then it goes down and down and down. They revised it down twice. Not much credibility here for Garrett. If you followed his advice of holding Lucid stock from $42 per share, down about 80%. Maybe that's an exception to the rule. How about Rivian? Downgraded to a hold on March 3rd, 2022 at $51 per share. Just hold at $51 per share, currently $13.71. And by the way, to his credit, at $33, Garrett decided to flip and say, you know what, you should probably sell Rivian stock, despite recommending you hold when it was 50% higher. Some serious credibility issues here. How about GM? Some sells in 2020, some holds around $55 per share, and again, another hold at $59 per share, currently $33 per share. There was a buy down at $33, a hold and a sell, all over the fucking shop. How about Fisker? Just a sell. Well, nailed that one. Now Ford, $4.86, a buy at $20 per share, currently trading for 11-ish, a buy at 15, a buy at 10. I don't want to be unfair here, obviously, stocks can do anything over the short and medium term, so maybe in the future, the Lucid stock surges, Rivian stock surges, Ford stock surges, GM stock surges, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody understands where Garrett was not that long ago. I recall roasting this guy relentlessly, It seemed like his thesis was, if a company tells us they're going to make electric vehicles, you should definitely buy the stock because nothing could possibly go wrong and let's ignore the current valuation. I pointed out at the time that these companies had multiple Mount Everests they would need to climb to actually successfully get to EV production at scale without going bankrupt, and most of them probably wouldn't make it. And therefore, very high risk suggestion to be buying these legacy auto or EV startup stocks. And here we are. Just a little bit of food for thought. Now, to be fair, when the facts change, an intelligent person will change their mind. A moron, when the facts change, refuses to change their mind. Garrett has changed his mind, but there's just one problem. The facts have not changed. There has been nothing material or meaningful that would have changed the investment thesis around any of the stocks he was previously recommending investors buy, or at best hold. Nothing's changed, except his recommendations. Garrett is emblematic of a typical Wall Street stock analyst, years behind the 8 ball. It turns out, production is hard. And I think Garrett has just learned this. Better late than never, Garrett.
We think there's a very clear pathway to growth. And in fact, by the end of this decade, we think they will be the world's largest automaker in terms of sales volume. So that's our top pick.
Completely agree on this point, although it's going to be much earlier than the end of this decade. Let me explain. 10 to 12 million units per year is the most volume any automotive manufacturer has sold in a single year ever, right? That's the high bar. But there's a transition happening. Toyota and Volkswagen, who give or take on a good year will sell close to 10 million units of ICE vehicles, are currently seeing their ICE sales collapse at the same time they're trying and failing to ramp up EV production. There's going to be a huge gap. As ICE sales collapse, these companies won't be able to ramp up compelling EVs to high enough volumes to fill the hole. Who fills that gap? Tesla. The point I'm making is as Tesla ramps up their volume of EVs produced per year, you're going to see the world's 2 largest automotive manufacturers have their volume collapse, meaning the bar is going to be much lower to become the world's largest automotive manufacturer by unit volume. Tesla will take the crown as the world's largest automotive manufacturer by vehicles sold per year, well before the end of this decade. And this mark will be much lower than 10 million vehicles. Don't say I didn't warn you.
We do like Ford also. They increased their dividend last year pretty materially.
Oh boy. I want to be kind to Garrett here. But if I was to be kind to Garrett, then I'd be dishonest, so I'm not. What an idiot. Are you serious? One of the reasons for owning Ford stock is because they're paying a dividend? Hello? They're a legacy automotive manufacturer, urgently, desperately trying to convert all of their production to profitable EVs at scale. This is going to cost a shitload of money. The last thing you want a legacy automotive manufacturer to be doing is paying a fucking dividend. Insane. This is the time to be ruthlessly resourceful, not throwing money back to your investors. I just can't believe. Let's move on.
They have an investor day tomorrow, and we think that could be a potential catalyst for the stock. I think there's been some frustration with management and their operational performance recently, but I think they're going to provide a lot more detail regarding the separation of the EV business from the traditional business. And then aside from that, we have sales on a couple of these small newcomer EV names.
Yeah, I saw you have a sell on Rivian, for example, but also on GM. Let's talk, Ivan, what are your thoughts?
Well, I agree with Garrett on Tesla. They have done everything phenomenally well. And they do have not only maybe a cost of capital advantage, they have a cost advantage there.
So far, so good. But I have a funny feeling there's going to be a but in a moment. And don't get me wrong, I'm a big fan of buts, but not when they come after. Tesla's got lots of advantages, but here's some other companies that are also going to do really well in EVs. Could be wrong. That's my prediction. My spidey senses kind of telling me.
Battery technology, their battery production, the car design and production, the build out of the factories, they do have an incredible advantage, and they've had it for some time. And it's almost shocking that the global auto industry has given Tesla an entire market to themselves for 10 years. But GM is going to be an incredible competitor and also has a lot of advantages.
I knew it. There's that fucking but. But GM... I'm trying to process this. I'm trying to come up with a reason for saying something like this other than idiocy. And I'm struggling here, guys. Can you help me out? Why would an analyst have such a high level of confidence that Government Motors, led by the least competent automotive CEO on planet Earth, why would anyone think that GM stands a chance? They partnered publicly and embarrassingly with 2 obvious fraudulent companies and announced these partnerships publicly. How embarrassing. That would be Nikola and Fraudstown Motors. And that was a clear red flag that these guys are fucking panicking and wanted some of that EV clout because they have none of their own. They announced their world-changing, industry-leading, incredibly amazing Ultium battery platform using pouch cells. And despite Elon Musk's warnings that pouch cells were an idiotic idea, it took them about 3 years to go, oh, wait, you know what? Pouch cells, probably not a good idea. We're going to not use those. You have a CEO, or actually a politician in CEO's clothing, lying to her investors, claiming that they will be overtaking Tesla, but failing to actually back that up with any numbers that make sense. And I do mean lying. This dumb motherfucker has been claiming that they will overtake Tesla when asked, and giving dates. Yet the numbers of Tesla's volumes today versus GM's future, it doesn't add up. She's lying to her investors. You got the union ties. They don't have any compelling EVs available for consumers to buy today. None. So the question I have, how can anybody, let alone a stock analyst, who should be informed about this, be so confident GM will be successful? What is this guy smoking? Serious question. I think it might be the same strain that Dan, the dipshit over on CNBS, was smoking the other day when he claimed that GM will definitely be around in 100 years. Good luck with that. Do we need to stage an intervention, get this guy on some Athletic Greens AG1 so his brain works? It's 2023. This guy's recommending investors buy GM stock and he thinks they're going to be successful transitioning to EVs. God damn it, dude. I mean, AG1's pretty damn good, but this guy might be beyond help. It's worth a try, though. They
have invested tremendously in building out their battery and the power supply chain, and they have a infrastructure of 3,000 dealers, which are going to be very important to the future.
I just can't. I actually just can't. GM's network of dealerships are like a terminal illness on the company. I cannot believe this moron thinks that 1,000+ car dealerships will help GM transition to EVs. I actually just can't. The dealerships are a huge liability. Car dealerships are going away. No consumer enjoys the experience of going into a car dealership, except those who enjoy pain, which, not judging, but that's a very small minority of the overall population of Earth. Most people don't like getting f***ed. Next thing, this moron is going to go, oh, by the way, they're going to still be selling extremely profitable ICE vehicles in the 2030s, which is also going to be a very strong reason to be buying GM stock. That would be the clean sweep of moronic statements about GM. I don't think the guy's that dumb, but maybe, you never know. I haven't seen the rest of this clip, so I wonder if he's got any other compelling reasons. I can't believe this guy, dude. The internet never forgets.
Of this ongoing electrification, as far as charging, as far as service, as far as software upgrades, as far as customer education and customer interaction. I mean, the dealer network is a valuable component of General Motors.
You can't fix stupid. Ladies and gentlemen, I dare you, I challenge you, go find out what other stocks this guy's recommending to buy. Check back in 5 years' time and watch what's happened to every single one of those stocks. Might be a fun exercise.
That I don't think should be discounted.
What do you think, Garrett? Because I know you have a sell on General Motors.
Yeah, I mean, we're skeptical. They'll finally be bringing some of these long-awaited Ultium EV models to market. The problem is really the timing. We think they're too late to the market. If you look, EVs accounted for 6% of new vehicle sales last year in the U.S. 2/3 were Teslas. So you look at the non-Tesla EV market, it's 2% of all new vehicle sales in the U.S. And a lot of new models are coming to market, and we see a situation where it's really the market's very oversaturated in the near future, in the next 1 to 2 years. And I think with consumers having so many different options, it's going to be overwhelming. And while we think the EV transition is real, it is going to take time. And our base case is that in the year 2030, 30% of all new vehicle sales will be EVs. So it's going to take time.
Fuck me. This is the most painful video I've made in a long time. It hurts my brain. It actually hurts my brain. I just can't do this. 30% in 2030. Idiot. Garrett, god damn it, dude. I'm not even kidding. Somebody get me Garrett's details. I'm going to sponsor him the first year of Athletic Greens AG1. Bro, 30% of new vehicles sold in 2030 being electric. Now, I'd really like to hear the reasoning behind this. I don't think we'll have time to short clip on the finance media, so I understand that. But if anybody could point me to the research from CFRA, can't f***ing research anything, I think that stands for. Oh, god damn it, I'm so good. I mean, that was just on the fly. That was actually pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. So, I just like to hear the research from can't f***ing research anything, because to get to 30% of new vehicles being sold in 2030 as EVs, to me indicates that either you haven't done any research or every single person involved in the research process does not know how to reason. We've covered this a million times, okay? The costs are declining precipitously on EVs. They're almost at price parity. They're way cheaper to own and operate. The price declines will keep happening. Who the is going to be buying a much more expensive to purchase and own and operate inferior product that's less safe and worse for the environment? When it's $10,000 cheaper to buy a comparable EV to an ICE vehicle, who the is going to be buying the ICE vehicle? When it's $15,000 cheaper, who's going to be buying the ICE vehicle? Answer, no one. Okay, there will be a few people who want them. Oh, I'm never buying an electric vehicle. But aside from those people, nobody. This can't be real. I'm going to have a brain aneurysm trying to process this, bro. I'm not getting paid enough for this shit.
It's interesting because while, Tesla seems to be on a great growth path and, could take over as a leader in all vehicles, what about Rivian? And I know you have a sell, Garrett. Ivan, this is one that you have a buy. And so there have been a lot of people who've been really excited about the new pickup truck, for example. Tell me a little bit about this one. Can they make it?
Oh, yes. I think that look, the sweet spot of the auto market are SUVs and pickups, and Rivian has already a leadership position. I mean, Ford has the Lightning available now. GM has several pickups that are coming out at the end of this year. But Rivian has plenty of cash. In fact, their cash right now exceeds the share price. So they're well funded. They are ramping up production.
Key words there, ramping up production. Finish this sentence. Production is, fill in the blank. I wish Rivian the best. Once again, I need to point out they need to climb multiple Mount Everest, naked, blindfolded, and without any food or water to survive. They might be able to pull it off, but I would not be betting on it. The arrogance to assume that they're going to make it. Unbelievable. Again, I wish them well. They might survive, but if I were a betting man, I would not be betting on success. Remember, Rivian was started just a couple of years after Tesla, and they're now currently struggling to ramp up production and then also delivering vehicles at brick to many of their consumers right now. But in the magical la-la land of I'm on Wall Street stock analyst, what Tesla did was easy. Therefore, any other company that says they're going to do something similar to what Tesla's done automatically is assumed to be successful ahead of time because production is easy and inexpensive. That's how it goes, right?
They had some starts and stops the way Tesla did early on as well. I think maybe the market's just less forgiving now than they were, for Tesla in its start. But I do think Rivian is going to create a very powerful niche for themselves. And it still is also about trucks and SUVs. And you're going to see GM and Ford are going to have a significant presence there as well. And they have a large customer base. And I also don't discount the dealer base, which is going to help sell cars and help educate the public on this transition.
Yeah, I saw there was an article about Rivian, how they were flush with cash. They had $12 billion, they burned through $6 billion, and that, analysts are predicting that they're going to burn through another $6 billion. So it's a tough business. There's a lot of competitors. Garrett, final thought on some of the other names here. You had Lucid that you once liked more than you like it now. Other names like Polestar and NIO and XPeng and anything else, Garrett, that you can add?
Yeah, I mean, the top name on our short list is Fisker. We have a sell and a $4 price target at these levels. The stock's trading just below $6 or right around $6 here. So, we see that stock right around $4 12 months from now. This is a company that we don't see any scenario in which they're not going to have to cut their production guidance for the full year.
I got to say, the odds of Fisker, the second coming of Fisker, you did know that, right? Shout out to the 2013 bankruptcy of Fisker. Oh, you didn't know that? Well, now you do. The odds of the second coming of Fisker being financially viable and the company succeeding, very low in my opinion. I wish them luck, but I will be here to point out when they do go bankrupt again that it was kind of obvious that would happen again. Just saying.
They just started producing their first model, the Ocean, which is a SUV, in November of last year. They still haven't started first shipments, and they put out production guidance of over 40,000 units for this year. We just don't see a scenario in which they actually can hit that guidance.
Well, Garrett, that definitely makes two of us, maybe 4,000 if they're lucky.
And as we saw with Rivian and with Lucid last year, as the year went along, the investors learned that they just could not hit these lofty production targets that they put out, and so we see another similar situation with Fisker. So
what was that saying again? Production is very easy, and you can't possibly fail. I think that's how it goes. Maybe you guys have heard the expression, "You can't fix stupid." Well, that may be true. Call me deluded, but I continue to remain optimistic and hopeful that maybe you can fix stupid. It's at least worth trying, right? And one of the best ways I know to at least attempt to fix stupid is first, to give your body everything it needs to feel, perform, and think its best. Shout out to Athletic Greens AG1, which I've been taking daily now for around 2 years, and I've never felt better. I suspect there isn't a single analyst on Wall Street who thinks GM's going to survive the transition to EVs, who's also drinking Athletic Greens AG1. If there are, I'll be happy to issue a correction to my statement. In order to feel and perform your best, you need to give your body everything it needs, and Athletic Greens AG1 is an excellent way to fill in nutritional gaps with 75 high-quality vitamins, minerals, and whole food source nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, digestive enzymes, and adaptogens to help you deal with stress. If you head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link in the pinned comment, get a 1-year free supply of vitamin D3 and K2. I really swear by this stuff. But you don't need to take my word for it. To prove my point, here are some very, very legitimate testimonials that I absolutely did not make up. I used to work for Can't F***ing Research Anything. I'm one of Garrett's colleagues, and recommended investors buy a bunch of EV startup stocks. The first day I took AG1, a feeling of horror came over me. I enjoy when things come over me. Don't judge. What a weird comment. And I immediately switched to a sell on every one of them. Thanks AG1 for showing me the light. Lead anal cyst from CFRA. Recent customer. Here's another one. Seems legit. Before I started taking AG1, I was married to a moron who thought GM would survive the transition to EVs and even believed that car dealerships were an asset, not a liability. Within 1 week of taking AG1, I'd filed for divorce. I've never been happier. Good for you, Cindy. And one more. I am ashamed to admit that before I began my daily health habit with AG1, I owned a bunch of legacy automotive stocks. Since taking AG1, my brain felt like it suddenly turned on for the first time in years. Now I'm all in on Tesla stock. Thanks AG1. So as you can see from these super legitimate testimonials, you should definitely be taking Athletic Greens AG1 every day, like I do. Or alternatively, don't. But a tip, if your goal with investing is to make rather than lose colossal amounts of money, I recommend giving yourself every advantage possible, including ensuring your body's getting everything it needs to feel, perform, and think its best. Head to athleticgreens.com/SMR or use the link at the pinned comment and let me know how you're feeling and thinking in a couple of weeks' time. There's a 90-day money-back guarantee, so unlike owning a legacy automotive manufacturer stock that eventually goes bankrupt, you have very limited downside if you don't get the results that you're expecting. So use the link in the pinned comment or head to athleticgreens.com/SMR and start your daily health habit now. And lastly, don't forget there's over 300 exclusive videos available on Patreon and plenty more coming soon. If you remember, you'll know where to find them, and if not, you can join with the card in the corner or the link in the pinned comment, and I'll see you over there. Love ya.